There we go. Oh, that was worrying. Everything seemed a bit for a second. Hi. Hello. Oh, I was really thought no one was going to be here, and then I saw you all waiting and panicked when my internet went. So I'm very sorry. But hello, welcome to LARP 101 Live, the very first of what I hope will be a whole year-long series of live streams where we can chat about LARP. And hopefully my internet is not going to fail me for the second time this evening already. So what is going to happen over the course of this evening? We're going to be here for a couple of hours. That's what happened last time. And I want to hear all the questions you guys have about getting started in LARP, getting started doing something new in LARP, and trying new things. Hi. Sorry. I get overexcited. So if you have any questions, pop them in the chat. Don't forget to say hi, tell me who you are and where you're from, because I love to hear that as well. And hopefully we can be here all night. I say all night, 2 hours, that's ridiculous. I have a drink. I hope you all have one as well. Mine is water, which is thoroughly disappointing. So hello, you don't have to LARP to be here. I love people coming in and hearing all about my weird yet obsessive hobby. But yeah, we can have some chat. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. Okay, so while I wait for things to start going in the chat, I see lots of lovely people saying hello. Hi, Debbie. Nice to see you again. Yay. And really random question about what's my favorite Pokemon, which is a whole crazy ball game. Oh, don't make me pick a favorite Pokemon. Lapras. I'm going to go with Lapras immediately because it's the only one in my head that I can think of right now when I have about a billion other crazy Pokemon that I like. Frostlass. Oh dear. Don't get me started on Pokemon. Let's talk LARP. We could be here all night if we talk about Pokemon. So just to give a brief background in case you're new and haven't seen my content, I'm Jess. Pronouns are she, her. And I have been LARPing since 2013, 2012, one of the two, which makes me almost 10 years into LARPing, which is an awfully long time. But I've learned a lot. I've started a YouTube channel on it, and I love to talk about my weird hobby online. So if you're brand new, hello, it's lovely to have you. If you are not brand new and you're sick of me rambling, I'm going to stop because questions are appearing. Okay, so quick question about my little Red Riding Hood character. It is coming along wonderfully. I submitted the character background last week, which is really badly behaved of me because it was due in months ago. Life lesson, don't do that to LARP creators. It's a horrible thing, and I will carry that guilt with me until long after the event is gone. But she's coming along very well. I'm actually have almost finished writing the actual script on how I actually put her together, which is, again, still very long. That should be filmed and up within the next few weeks. In terms of her costume, that is coming along beautifully. I've had several bits arrive in the post over the last couple of days. I'm waiting to pick up another costume piece from a lovely friend of mine, and then I should have it all together, and that video should be up straight after the one where I tell you how I built the character. So it's all coming together. Fingers crossed it will be right. The LARP itself is 6 weeks away. Oh, and I think that's enough time to do stuff. I should have enough time. 6 weeks. You can do a lot in 6 weeks. It's down in Hatfield, which is much further down south than where I live, which means it's expensive and hard to get to. But it is being held at Hatfield House, which I am really looking forward to. And if you don't know where that is or don't know what it's like, Google it. It looks beautiful. It is one of the houses they use in the series Bridgerton, which I could go on about forever, so we won't talk about that. But yeah, so long story short, it's coming together very nicely. Fingers crossed I can get those videos to you very soon. So next question from McKenna. How has LARP helped me? Oh, in so many ways. So many ways. I think it's really made me come out of my shell. I would have never contemplated doing anything like this before I started LARPing. I think it's made me a much better storyteller. She says, as she rambles on about nonsense, it's given me a lot of confidence in things I didn't really expect. But I think the one thing I can say that LARP has definitely helped me with, LARP has actually helped me got jobs. Because I talk about it in interviews for some strange reason, and it goes down brilliantly well because it's different. Which is actually one of the things why I've not done some videos for a couple of weeks, because I've actually just got a new job, which I'm starting hopefully very soon. And I talked about LARP a lot in that interview, and it went down incredibly well. So long story short, how has LARP helped me the most? It's helped me professionally. I'm earning more money because of it, so that's always a plus. I want Camembert. I want Camembert. I'm jealous. Debbie, I'm coming to your house at some point. I'll sit outside if you don't want me to come in. That's fine. I need Camembert and garlic bread. Now, I had lasagna for dinner, so yeah. Yeah, that's mean. Am I going to the Northern Kingdom's Witcher LARP at some point? Yes. Yes, I am. I'm desperate. I've been desperate to go to this for a long time. I actually had originally planned to go, and I think there was an event I know when there was an event in December 2020, and I intended to go to it because it was my 5th wedding anniversary that weekend. And for some reason, me and my husband wanted to celebrate by going to a LARP. And I was getting really into The Witcher at that time. I had just bought The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt game. Obviously this Netflix series has come out and I was very happy with it. A controversial opinion, I know, but I still love it. And I'd also started to read some of the books. So yes, I am absolutely going to be going to Northern Kingdom at some point. I don't know when. I don't think there's any tickets left for this year, so it may have to be 2023. But I will, yes, definitely on my list, definitely planning on going. If I can go later this year, I definitely will. I think I'm on the waiting list for tickets. So fingers crossed, because I like meeting people in person as well. So if anyone else is going to the same events that I go to this year, please come up and say hi, because I like to see people. Have I ever gone to one of those one-off LARPs, or do I usually go to a regular weekly/monthly LARP? So the Wild Hunt LARP that I'm going to in March is technically a one-off, though they are planning on running their secondary event next year already, even though this first one's not run. It was designed to be kind of a one-off event that's now escalating, I think is the best way. It's the very first one, so I'm using that as a one-off. I don't intend to probably play this character again. So that's fine. I don't actually go to a weekly or a monthly LARP. I actually go to an event. I can't speak English. I go to a LARP that generally hosts 4 events a year, which is the Lorien Trust. I've talked about it a few times on the channel. If you've not heard it before, the Lorien Trust is brilliant. It is one of those LARPs that I would absolutely recommend for beginners, because it's got a lot of creative freedom. Everyone there is really, really nice, and it's a great place to sort of just dip your toes in, no matter your age, no matter your physical capabilities. There is something for everyone, and it's held 4 events a year. It's held 2 events in May and 2 events in August, and then sometimes there's lots of little events that they sort of have around the year, run by smaller groups within the Lorien Trust. But those are the 4 main events that attract the larger numbers of people. And that's the ones that I tend to go to. But I am trying to go to more smaller LARPs, more different LARPs. I have not tried post-apocalyptic LARP before. I don't know if I will. It depends on what kind of event attracts my attention. I keep looking around for them at the moment. So if you know of a LARP going on in the UK and you think I should go, do drop me a message on Twitter or Instagram, because trust me, the more events I know about, the better. Yeah. Fingers crossed, Debbie. I'll keep it crossed that you can come to the Wild Hunt because I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be great. Let's see. Will I be attending LARPCon this year? No. No, I won't. And that is purely because I'm at a LARP. I'm the Wild Hunt LARP is at the same weekend as LARPCon in March. So, which I didn't realise went until after I booked it, which is really gutting because I love going to LARPCon. They've started running them twice a year, kind of though. They have the kit fair that they kind of have in sort of October, November time. I went to that this year. That was really good. So if they hold another one in October or November, I will go to that because I like buying new kit. What is my favourite LARP story? Oh, so many good ones. I think I told one last time on this show, but I think I'll tell it again because it's really good. I went to a meeting at the Low Trust because I run a guild. I wasn't in charge of the guild at the time. I was sort of a lower commander. It's the Rangers Guild if anyone's quite interested. And there was a incident with one of the factions, which is the nations around the world of the Low Trust. Who were trying to impose some new rules onto the guilds in general, not just mine. And we got invited to a meeting with all the factions, their diplomats, to essentially have a chat about it. And I know me, and I know that I tend to say things that make things worse. So I went down to the food vendors and I got myself a very large pizza and a very large pint of cider. And I took it to the meeting with me so I didn't have to speak because I really thought I was going to make things worse. So it became rather apparent when everyone else started to arrive that the diplomats from the factions weren't expecting any of us guild representatives at all. We had not been invited. We had gate crashed. And none of us had realised. And some of them tried to sort of kick us out. Some of the guild representatives were not having that. And what kind of ended up happening was I would say an argument, but it was a little bit more aggressive than that. There was lots of people yelling. The faction had written out this entire charter. We made them read it out. We were all quite cross. The Bards Guild brought a table with the sole intention of flipping it during the meeting, which was well executed. It was beautiful. I remember one of my friends, Nick from the Alchemists, he got quite cross at one point and left. And yeah, and then it was about halfway through that my pizza and my cider ended, and that's when I made everything worse. And I started getting rather shouty and gobby and rather not interested in people trying to tell the guilds what to do. And it all kind of culminated in the diplomat from the Tarantulas faction, who is my hero to this day, standing up and just going, well, this is all nonsense and I didn't want to sign this piece of paper anyway, and just left. And that's when everything just kind of broke up. But it will always be, it was kind of almost an anticlimactic ending, but it will always be one of my favourite LARP stories because when you're in that kind of scenario and that kind of moment, the levels of emotions are incredible. And it was always quite dramatic. And I'll always remember it as being really funny as well. With the table flip and the tarantulas storming off and everyone yelling everywhere. It was, it was good role play. I will remember that very fondly for a very long time. So my favorite class or archetype of character to play, Rangers always. I've played them in most video games. I play them in probably more LARPs than I should. I like reading books about that. I'm really quite a simple person. I'm currently sort of getting ready for The Legend of Vox Machina, the Critical Role TV show, because I don't have the patience to listen to Critical Role, which is very sad because, it seems very funny and very well done, and I love all of the people who do it because I'm a big fan of like Laura Bailey and Travis Williamson and actually, I think I just got his name wrong, but you know what I mean. Matthew Mercer, I'm a very big fan of. And I've just been introduced really to the character of Vex, and I love her because I have no personality beyond being a ranger. So yeah, ranger is always going to be my favorite class, really, because I like bows and arrows and I like wandering around the woods. Yeah, it's always my thing. So when I'm feeling nervous for a LARP or video, what do I do that helps calm me down? Well, I do different things. For a video, I have a ton of water because cold things tend to make me feel calm. And my throat gets really dry. So having a drink tends to make me feel a lot calmer. I also tend to do breathing exercises, which sounds really sad. I know it is. But it's just about, getting that heart rate down and making sure I am actually getting oxygen. When I'm feeling nervous for a LARP, that's a bit trickier because you're kind of running off adrenaline before you even start an event. So what I tend to do is probably the fact that I have playlists for all my characters, depending on what kind of sort of character they are. So if they're quite, angry fighter, I tend to have a lot of rather sort of alternative and rock music. And if they're playing quite a gentle character, it's just tons of Disney, just Disney everywhere, just, full on like, Tangled, Snow White, whatever I need to. And I just kind of just tune out and stick my earphones in and listen to that over and over again. I'll be honest, for weeks before I build up into an event, because it helps me get into that head. And that's pretty much sort of how I go. If I get nervous during an event, because that's when I tend to sort of freak out when I'm meeting new people and I don't know how they're going to react to me role playing because I'm a terrible role player, which is totally worth it for this hobby. So I try and sort of get a breather, go and, if I can disappear to a bar, I tend to do that. Any space where I can just sort of sit on my own and be that person in the corner who no one speaks to, which I tell you all not to be. Because I'm, to be honest, I'm a rather introverted person and I like being by myself. So that's what I tend to do to calm down. It sounds really sort of weird because LARP is a really social hobby, but you are allowed to sort of sit out and take your own time doing stuff. Because at the end of the day, if you're getting overwhelmed, you're not having fun. And if you're not having fun, then what's the point of this? So yeah, there's just a few things. I tend to eat a lot as well when I'm stressed, which is why I'm overweight. So, don't do that one. That's not good for you. What's the most expensive single thing I've bought for a LARP character? Oh, expensive things. I have a lot of expensive things. So this is probably the most expensive thing I have, but it's not mine and I didn't pay for it. It's my husband's. Oh, what was the most expensive thing I bought? I can't even remember what things I bought for LARP. Probably technically armor. Armor is pricey. In fact, I'm actually just looking into buying another set from a company called Darkblade LARP, which if you've never seen before, do, because their leatherwork is incredible. And I'm buying another bit of armor from them very shortly, and it's slightly customized for me because Tim, who works there, is the nicest person ever. So yeah, that's probably the most expensive thing about to come up. I've spent probably between LARP weapons and LARP armor, I've probably spent well over £1,000 on this hobby. And that's not including cost for tickets and travel and general equipment. So, yeah, I would say armor is probably priciest thing that I've bought. Most recent price thing I bought was this thing, and I think this cost me 70 quid. And I got this at LARPCon last year. And this is done by Regular Props, who are incredible as well. I always envy people who are really good at making things, because I'm not. But yeah, this is not a cheap hobby. It can be if you sort your money out, but yeah, this is not a cheap hobby. So other questions. None of those questions are for me. You're all talking between yourselves, and I think that's so sweet. Just reading about Northern Kingdoms. I really do want to go to Northern Kingdoms. Because I really want to do Witcher LARPs. So I was thinking of sort of going to Witcher school in Poland, but I've heard mixed sort of reviews about that. So I'm more keen to sort of try ones a bit closer to home at the moment. Any tips on avoiding being scammed? Because there are some great items, but I'm always worried. Yeah, me too. There are several shops around that I do not trust. They generally have bad reps. The best thing I would advise and to avoid being scammed is talk to other LARPers about where they get their stuff, because all of them will have stories of people who just aren't great. One of the things is sort of, I don't want to say any sort of companies that I know are not brilliant, because I don't have any experience with them myself. But yeah, sort of ask around to other LARPers and sort of see what other people recommend. A lot of people make things yourself. It's not Viking Store. It's totally not Viking Store. No one has a bad reputation at Viking Store. Not at all. I'm not going to say anything about Viking Store. So yeah, ask other LARPers, because at the very least, they should own they should have their stuff, which at least proves that they got it through the post. Other things to do to avoid getting scammed: buy your kit at events if there is stuff being sold. Big festival events often have traders there who are selling, weapons and leatherwork and just other sort of bits and bobs. And they are really, really good at essentially you being able to see what you're getting for your money. And I've yet to meet a LARP trader in a field who isn't worth the money that you pay for them, because they're just all, they use high quality stuff and they're brilliantly talented, and you can see it in front of you, so you know that things are good. So yeah, my advice for avoiding being scammed is talk to other LARPers, try and buy stuff in the field or in person. And also, simple other thing, just go online and just type in reviews after certain shops, because people do leave reviews for these places online and they'll tell you if they're terrible. I have a number of shops that I keep going back to, Darkblade being one of them, because they are incredible, and Tim there is so talented and so lovely. And yeah, I would personally recommend Darkblade. I own so much of their stuff, so yes, there you go, endorsed. Let's see, have I thought, oh no, I'm not skipping a question. Was there a time I had a rough time separating in-game feelings or out-of-game feelings, and how did I resolve that? I have that all the time. It's probably one of the hardest bits about LARP, is separating the fact that the person in front of you who is being mean or being quite nasty is not a mean and nasty person. It's just a fictional person they're playing, and you kind of you do have to separate that, but it is hard. And what I tend to do is I tend to come home, bitch about them for probably about 2 months, and then by the time I see them again, it's out of my system. And there's nothing wrong with that. I know there's probably people who go home after a LARP event and bitch about how horrible I am and how annoying my character is. And that's fair enough. I hope I don't come across that way. But no one's ever going to be liked 100%. And thank you. I tried to be honest, otherwise this isn't going to go well. I tend to go home, bitch about them for about 2 months, get it out of my system, remind myself that they're not actually terrible people. And then I see them in a field again, and then they act the exact same way, and I've got to convince myself afterwards that they're still not terrible people. Best thing to ever remind you that people are not bad people is when their character dies, they come back in as a completely different character, and suddenly they're really nice. And that's how you kind of separate in your mind. There's a lovely gentleman at one of my LARPs, and for the first year that I knew him, I didn't speak to him because I thought he was terrifying because the character he played was really serious and really important. And I didn't speak to him because I was genuinely scared. And then his character died and he came back in as the nicest, sweetest man. And he was always the nice, sweet man. It's just his character was previously intimidating. And I told him so. I told him that I thought his previous character was intimidating, and he was really shocked because that's not how he really thought he was playing him. So, it's really hard to sort of keep that IC and OC thing separate in your mind. It's okay to sort of let things blur a bit as long as you're aware that things are blurring. In terms of OC feelings, like when you get upset by people, you get offended by people, and don't get me wrong, obviously there are levels of offense which you are allowed to have because, protector characteristics and all that jazz. You don't want to be offended by that. But if you're offended because, someone hates elves or hates dwarves or something, and that really sort of gets to you, that can be a little jarring. You kind of just make sure you step back, you remind yourself that that's not how people sort of go. Again, I tend to bury my feelings in food. So again, don't do that. I don't think I've answered this question very well. So if you want me to be more clear, pop it in the chat because that'll make my life easier. Let's see. Have I thought of crewing the Northern Kingdoms? I haven't, I'll be honest, which is naughty because crewing events is awesome. I absolutely love crewing events. I haven't done it in a long time though, since before I was pregnant. So 4 or 5 years ago since I last crewed an event. It was really fun though the last time I did it. I played a large variety of monsters. I got to charge in and whack people with swords and everything. So I could crew Northern Kingdoms, but I really want to play it. And I kind of don't want to spoil what it's like before I play it, which is always the downside of sort of crewing an event. You will learn what the plots are. You'll learn what all the monsters do. You'll know all their stats. And while you can sort of forget that stuff before you play an event, I like to sort of have that surprising character before I do it out of character. So I will probably crew it at some point, but not yet. Not yet. What was the hardest thing to figure out when you first started LARPing? What on earth I was doing, which sounds really basic, but I went to a large fest system where essentially I was left to it and had to sort of work out where my character fitted into this whole thing, which was really, really hard to do because I think when you have a smaller LARP, there's a sort of a little bit of a guidance because everyone's working on the same plot together. They're working sort of through the same character interactions together. And when you're at a festival system, there's so much going on, and you kind of just have to pick and hope that everything will be okay. So I kind of had to sort of work out what on earth my niche was, and I had to try. I tried lots of different things. I sort of looked into scouting and being a murder assassin person, which is a lot harder than you think it is. Everyone comes in wanting to be an assassin, and trust me, it's hard to do that unless you've got some natural skills and talents in there. But I eventually sort of found my thing, and I found a guild that I really enjoy, and now I'm in charge of it because apparently I obsess. So that's what I would always say was the hardest thing to sort of figure out. The other thing that I found really difficult was actually working out how on earth role play works, because I've you sort of do it a little bit of pretend as a child, and then you kind of maybe do a little bit of acting when you're in school and things like that. I'm not really a big tabletopper. I sort of dabbled with D&D here and there, and other sort of tabletop games and things like that. I didn't really know how to role play, especially with people who take it very seriously. So that was sort of a steep learning curve I sort of had. And I'll be honest with you, it's 10 years later and I still don't know how to role play. I have no idea what I'm doing. I do my best. It'll be fine. Hi, Wes. Yes, you died. His death was amazing and slightly funny at the same time, but only funny at my end, not for him. But we'll talk about that in a minute. Yay. So yeah, role play I find was the thing was a bit tricky when I first started. But it is easier now-ish. I wish I was a good role player. I really wish I was. I don't think I've answered that question very well either. You're going to have to tell me if I'm just rambling on about nonsense, because I will need to know that, because who knows what I'm doing. You're all still having a conversation. Hello, the machine. We are doing okay, I think. I'm all right. My illnesses that I've had over the last few months have all disappeared, and I have a new job. So yeah, everything is great. Wonderful. Let's see. Debbie plays a cannibal elf. I don't know what to do with that. You don't play the cannibal elf at the LARP that we go to. I know that for a fact, but fair enough. I need to know more about this cannibal elf. You're gonna have to tell me more about her. Are there any red flags that you should look out for, not me, when considering a new LARP event? Yeah, quite a few. Red flags. First one I would say is a red flag is if there's any known missing stairs going. That I would consider a red flag. A bigger red flag I would consider is if they're running it. And if you don't know what missing stairs, essentially missing stairs are those people in LARP community, well, in any sort of community, but we'll go with LARP for the moment. In LARP communities, who people kind of warn you about, but don't do anything about. So it's kind of like, we'll call him John. John Doe. Don't go over. So just be careful of John. He gets a bit handsy when he gets drunk. He's fine, really. He's a good bloke, but he gets a bit drunk. And then he gets, a bit handsy. That's what we would call a missing stair, because clearly John is completely not appropriate for groping people. But no one's doing anything about it. And they just kind of warn you about him and leave him there. And that's the missing stair, essentially. You've got a staircase that's got a step entirely missing. But instead of replacing the missing stair and getting it fixed, you kind of just tell people to jump over it. That's essentially what it is. Now, if John was running a LARP event, I would not go. And that's a big one. And this is for men, women, everyone. Like, if there is an event running by somebody who is a problem in the LARP community, don't go to it. Don't. It's not the thing kind of needs support in this community. And yeah. Other red flags to sort of look out for. LARPs that sound big, that promise you a lot of things, big things, but don't seem to have the manpower to deliver them. So if they're promising you like a castle to stay in and 5-course dinners and, all these handwritten characters for you and all these props and everything for a rather low cost, that would make me very, very suspicious. That doesn't happen often in my experience. Most people running an event kind of know what kind of money they're going to be putting in. Yeah, kind of like Fire Festival, which is one of my favorite things to read about on the internet. It's just how chaotic it is. I would consider that a red flag. So yeah, keep an eye out for people who promise you more than you can actually, then more value than your ticket price is probably giving you. But the missing stair thing, I would say, is sort of a big one. Because they're a big missing stairs are still a thing in the LARP community, and they will be for a very long time. But only if we keep letting them be. And we're all getting better at it. I think we're all sort of getting more confident calling out problems and saying, this person's not, God, this person's doing bad things. This person's, done something over here. And it's not even a small thing now. That you can find stories about LARPers who have gone to prison for some of the crap they pull off. And that's just sort of the things to keep in mind. So if you know somebody is, a bit dodgy or a bit inappropriate, don't support them in this community. It's not good. Right. I'm sorry, I'm just going to read some of your comments now. Yeah, it's really, really hard to not take the piss sometimes, especially when you're uncomfortable. I find myself when I'm quite uncomfortable, I try to make people laugh, which sometimes goes really well and sometimes falls really flat. And when it falls flat, it hurts. So yeah, it's really easy to sort of take the piss when you feel uncomfortable. So good on you for having the things come naturally. I wish it did for me, but I'll get there eventually. What has been my favorite LARP to attend? Oh, what was my favorite one? I did quite a few. To be honest, I'll take my favorite LARP event, and I say event because it is part of the law and trust system. Was actually my very first one, and it's not that other events have not lived up to it, because I've been to so many great ones, but this first one will always stand out in my head because it was so chaotic. And it was the gathering in 2012, 2013. I'm going to say 2012. It was the gathering, so it was the biggest event of the year. I'd never been before, and there were so many things that just happened. A world leader got killed off in a mass battle, and then we had another mass battle that was completely unplanned and terrified the ref team up on a hill, where I can remember two gentlemen who for some reason were dressed as Native Americans came charging down the hill away from the rest of their group, and we just kind of beat them into the floor. What else happened there? The group I was with, our faction, our king got killed, trying to avenge the other world leader. It was very chaotic. It was so chaotic, and so much happened, and I met so many people, and I just remember coming away from it going, let's go again. And I've never stopped. So clearly, that would always be my favorite event, just because the amount of drama and the amount of adrenaline just meant it was absolutely brilliant. What is my least favorite LARP? I am okay to answer this because I don't think it's really fair to say this is my least favorite LARP, because it wasn't the organizer's fault, it was mine. Because I was very stupid and thought for some reason it would be a good idea to LARP 8 months pregnant. It's not a good idea. It's not, especially when you're 8 months pregnant in December. But the thing is, it was a Dragon Age LARP, and I love Dragon Age so much, and really looking forward to Dragon Age 4, and I was so keen to go, and I didn't have a good time. I couldn't keep up. I couldn't do any of the LARP combat. So that was probably the worst LARP event I've been to, but it wasn't the organizer's fault. I had a lot of weird emotional stuff as well because of hormones. I was paranoid about my husband's character dying, even though my husband himself was fine. So that was a bit. Don't go LARPing to highly emotional new LARPs on pregnancy hormones. It's a terrible idea. Let's see. LARP is not nearly as cringy as it might be. It's not as cringy. No, it's not. It can be. But it's not. No, if you're just rambling now. It depends what kind of LARP you go to. Even LARPs that aren't that serious are not cringy. Mainly because you're all having a laugh together. Have I ever been to Empire? No, I have never been to Empire. I want to go to Empire. I want to see what it's like. I hear different things about it from different people, but mostly positive. And the Empire players who I've met that don't go to the Lorraine Trust are all really lovely. I guested on Hefty Yeti's Twitch channel a while back and got to talk about Empire with him and some of his viewers. And they got me really sort of excited for Empire. I either want to be in Wintermark or in Dawn because I like knights and I like the idea that Wintermark, I know Wintermark is not Vikings, but it's sort of, I know they've got different sort of people from up north, and I'm still into that whole snow and ice thing. So that makes that really tempting as well. But no, I've never been to Empire. I want to go to Empire. If anyone can get me to Empire, because I don't drive, then I would be very grateful. Have I ever been terrified to my core at a LARP? No. And to add to that one, I've asked if I've been to a horror theme LARP. No, because I'm a wimp. I'm a complete and total wuss, and I am terrified of everything. I wish I could say I wasn't, but no, I'm really wussy. The Wild Hunt LARP I'm going to styles itself as gothic horror, which probably means I'm going to get shit scared, which is not great when I'm playing a monster hunting hero. So we'll see how that goes. But I don't know if I enjoy it. Maybe I'll try more scary-ish LARPs. I don't think I could go to proper horror theme LARPs. Because like I said, I'm always, my husband's been to a few because he loves them. And he told me of one that it was run by one of his friends, and it was kind of based off the Japanese film Battle Royale. And they were all kind of stuck in the woods, essentially trying not to get killed by these zombies, but then I think they were also killing each other. It was very strange. But he told me of one incident. I remember this very clearly. They had to get into a radio room on this island, which was in the middle, basically the woods, and there was a cabin in the woods, and there was a radio room inside. And they had to radio for help to come and get them off this island. And they went in, and there was just all these bodies of schoolgirls, like not like little schoolgirls, but teenagers, sort of schoolgirls. And they quickly realized that these were zombies that only moved when you made sound in a radio room. So they had to radio for help while fighting off these zombies girls who only reacted to sound. Oh god, and apparently one of them was being played by our wonderful friend Emma, who I haven't seen in a while, but apparently she was playing one of them, and she made this twitching to the sound every time they made a creaky noise trying to step on a floorboard. She was very good apparently, and very terrifying. And now I'm that doesn't help me wanting to go to scary LARPs at all. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how Wild Hunt is. Maybe I've become less wussy in my old age. Hi, would I ever play an orc? Yes. Yes, 100% I'd play an orc. I want to kind of play an orc for my next Lorien Trust character. More of a half orc, really, and I'm obsessed with playing them as a fancy bard. Because I know everyone sort of likes to play that whole orc tribal thing, and that's cool. But I just really want to sort of do something different. So I'm really keen to play a half orc dressed up as a Shakespearean bard, because I think that would be fun. But no, I like sort of the idea of orcs, and I like sort of reading about that sort of history and various things. I think that'll be quite fun. Whether I play an orc empire, I kind of want to, but only because I'm really desperate to meet the guys at Orcs Planet. Who's another, which if you've not seen their YouTube channel, do, because they're great. I am absolutely a massive fan of their channel, and I really want to meet and collab with them so badly. Yeah, I would play an orc if it meant I could meet them. That'd be cool. Still people talking about, I want to go to Northern Kingdoms and everything so badly. Yes, Wes, I know Archery Empire is solid too. I am actually on their archery page because I like learning more about how to be safe at archery, and they have good pointers as well as the one for the Lorien Trust. So, and I'm not just saying that because I help run the archery for Lorien Trust. What's been my difficult costuming hurdle? Very simply, I can't sew and I'm broke. That's pretty much, the grounds of it. I can't sew for the life of me, so I can't make my own costumes. I've tried. They look terrible. It's not what you want in life, which means I have to find money, which isn't always easy. For a variety of reasons. I'm a woman in her early 30s. I have a job, but just how it is. In terms of other costuming sort of issues, the fact that I'm plus size is probably a big one. Because sometimes they just don't make costumes, specifically armor, that fit you right. Because I'm big in places where I shouldn't be, and I'm small in places where you wouldn't expect. So things don't really fit brilliantly. So mostly it means I have to sometimes get stuff a bit more custom made, which is not what you want. But yeah, that's probably my biggest sort of costuming hurdle, is just getting stuff that I can afford that fits me right. But such is the way. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I know you meant rules-wise, Wes. I read their rules and stuff because I am obsessive about learning better archery, and I desperately want to go to Empire. Do I camp IC or OC? I camp OC, but not by choice. At the Lorien Trust, I am a member of the staff, so I camp in the staff camp because I'll be honest with you, we have nicer toilets there, and that's cool. So I camp in the OC staff camp because it's also close to catering, which means I get fed and I have nice toilets and nice showers. So that's what I tend to do there. But I do love camping IC. I have a beautiful blue canvas tent from Boutique Camping, which I got purely so I could camp IC in a blue tent. And tips for decorating tents to be atmospheric. I would recommend throws, specifically furry sort of throws if you're going, if it's cold camping and all that, and furs are good. If you're not into that, burlap's always great. Don't get stuff like this because this looks great on camera, but it looks terrible in real life, trust me. Wooden boxes are also really good. I have quite a few sort of wooden crates that I put it sounds really dumb, dirty clothes in, to hide it from suitcases, so I don't have my suitcase out or anything like that, or I put all my IC books and stuff. I buckle the ones, lock the ones that have got all my dirt, clothes and stuff in that I don't want people to see, and I can leave the other ones open so they're explorable. Because people are allowed to rob you in certain games. If you but it's hard to sort of decorate a tent, I see, especially with one stuff. Amazon is a great thing because you can build lists and find things that aren't too expensive. Lighting is also another big one. I know some people like to have live candles. I'm terrified of setting fire to my tent. So I either have battery candles, which are like these, which are really cool. This comes with a remote as well. Or you can get like little string lanterns. I've got one up in my living room now, which has got like little sort of, or like little, they're kind of like little paper string lanterns kind of things, but with little like electric bulbs inside. I'm not explaining myself well. Yeah, just try and find some sort of good IC lighting, and cover anything that looks OC with burlap or fur, and that's a good start, really. Am I musical at all? I can sing. I wouldn't recommend it. I can sing okay. In terms of other instruments, I can play an ocarina. Somehow I kind of learned that as a weird hobby a couple of years ago, so I can play some songs on the ocarina. The only one I can play through memory, I can play two through memory. One is the Lugia song from Pokemon the movie The Power of One, which is entirely the reason that I wanted to play the ocarina, because I actually prefer that over Legend of Zelda. And for some reason, I can also play the Star Wars theme tune as well, because I'm an obsessive with that as well. I can play other things on the ocarina, but that's it. I would recommend my singing over my ocarina playing, and I am an okay-ish singer. So, but that's pretty much my entire musical talent. What's my scripting process for this? Obviously not for this, because there's no script for this at all. I come up with a concept idea. I separate out all the sections that I want to break it down to, which is usually 5 or 6. I form it into bullet point notes, and then I'll be honest with you, I put it out into a full script. Almost everything I say in a YouTube video is fully written out in front of me, including the jokes, I'm afraid, because if I try and improv or just talk from bullet points to make it sound more natural, what I tend to do is what I'm doing now, which is where I stutter and kind of make no sense because I go off point. And then I have to try and cut that all down to try and make it actually something that people understand. And it makes the editing process about 4 times as long. Which is already bad when I'm trying to get things out onto YouTube as it is. So my scripts are really detailed and everything is quite there in front of me. So sorry, that takes some of the mystery away. Everything I say to you on a YouTube video, including everything that I say that's relatively funny, is scripted out. I'm not naturally funny. Sorry. How do I like my tent? I love my tent. I'll be honest with you. I love my tent. It is so comfortable. I would recommend canvas tents to everyone. They are really annoying in the fact that they hold, if they get wet, they hold a lot of water, which means they gain so much weight and are a bitch to drag around. But they breathe really well in the summer, so they don't get too hot. They keep the heat in at the same time in the winter, so they don't get too cold. Mine has a zip-in ground sheet, so no water gets in, and I can unzip it and take it out. It makes it quite easy to clean. It's also quite spacious because it's 3 meters tall, so I can stand up fully in it. I have a double bed in there, which I can fit quite comfortably. Mine's a 5-meter bell tent, so it's 5 meters from end to end. I can sleep. I think at one point I've slept 6 people in there. It's huge and it's really comfortable. It's also really easy to put up. It can be put up by a single person on their own and taken down by a single person on your own. It takes a bit longer, but you don't need to have somebody holding up one pole at the other end so it doesn't spring out like you do on other tents. So I really recommend it. And boutique camping are really good quality, a really really good quality, and they sell you all the extra bits and bobs if you know your tent pole breaks, because it can. It didn't happen to me, but a gentleman I knew was at a LARP event in the middle of winter, and it snowed so much that the wooden pole holding up his bell tent snapped in half. Splinters everywhere, and the whole tent came down while he was in it asleep. So that was a nice, terrifying surprise for him. But to be honest, that was a lot of snow. It was an unusually heavy snow. So, and that is the only incident I've heard of the beam breaking, of the pole breaking. And he was able to get another one from boutique camping as well. So yeah, I would thoroughly recommend them. I think they're absolutely fantastic. Have I done any performance type stuff at LARPs? I have. I wrote a short story which I told to people in a bard competition, and while I didn't place, people threw money at me, so it can't have been terrible. I haven't since though. It's not a thing. I do. I have some really really talented friends who perform at LARPs. So. My friend Malcolm is an incredible penny whistle player, and his friend Paul, who he performs with. I say his friend Paul because I've only met Paul once, and I think he's lovely. But we've literally just met. But his friend Paul is actually a guitarist in a rock band, and is very good. And they played together at the gathering that I went to, and I got them on video. So if you haven't watched my gathering video, do. They are the guys right at the end. With everyone dancing around because they were just fantastic. So I wish I could perform like them. Maybe one day I'll get drunk and sing along. And won't that be a terrible day for them? Do I write packing lists, or do I throw everything in my bag and hope for the best? I write lists. So many lists. And even then I forget stuff. Because at the end of the day, if you throw stuff in your bag and you hope for the best, that's all well and good. But I have gone to LARPs while missing vital things like deodorant. And fortunately, there is an Asda nearby, and I had to go and buy them. But you don't want to do that, really go off and have to buy the stuff that you're missing when you have it already at home. So lists, always lists. Please don't hope for the best. Any tips for going to your very first LARP alone? Make sure that when you get there, you work out where first aid is, or where security is. Because if you are in trouble, these are the people who can help you the most. Like for anything, like if you're having just problems with people in general and you don't know if there is no security for the event, find the first aid team. They're almost always there to give you a hand, and you know that they're safe and secure. Also, when you're going to LARPs alone, make sure you don't overpack, because you've not got anyone to help you lug your stuff around. Try and make a friend quite quickly, and it doesn't have to be like a mate or just something like that, but like, if you know there's NPCs around who are there to sort of be there to guide you around and give you a bit of help, introduce yourself quickly and let them know you're on your own. Because if they're a member of staff and their job is to help make sure you have a good time, they're going to want to make sure that you're okay. So just sort of, you're going on your own. Introduce yourself to people, and biggest other thing as well is that. Remind yourself that just because you're on your own, you do not have to do anything you don't want to do. You don't have to drink. You don't have to sit with people you don't know. You don't have to bow into any pressure at all, because it's really easy to bow to pressure when you're by yourself. No one should be pressuring you to do anything, IC or OC. It's fine for you to turn around and go, I need to back out of this. So yeah, that's what I would really recommend, especially the introducing yourself to the staff and the volunteers, because while they won't be able to probably keep an eye on you the entire time, at least you know who you need to go to if you're in trouble. And they might be able to pick up that if you're having a bit of a rough time and give you a hand. I have an whole video on it, which says this a whole lot clearer, and it's I worked really hard on that video, so go watch it. No, I would recommend that you go watch it because it is very, very good. I was just, plugging myself in my own chat. What inspired my color scheme? This is probably blatantly obvious. I'm a big Frozen fan. Now, I like blue in general as it is, and I like snow in general as it is. When I was like 8 or 9, I got a Sailor Mercury Barbie for Christmas and was very excited, especially when it snowed the next day. I was convinced she made it happen. That was a bit loopy. I was at university when Frozen, the first one, came out, and I was going through a whole emotional sort of hell at that time. I was very, very depressed. And I got really into it. I loved Elsa. I still do. I got swept up in the hype, and I know other people hate it, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with it. I love it. So I like to play my characters with lots of snow and lots of ice, and I have a lot of blues. I have a official Elsa snowflake necklace from Disney Couture, which I wear a lot. And people tend to gift me lots of stuff with snow on it as well, because it's who I am. I even have this leather cuff that my friend Tony made me for my birthday last year, which I wear often as well, because, aesthetics are important. So color scheme, blues, grays, whites. I wear that a lot. And me going out of my depth into this whole Little Red Riding Hood thing is going to be new and interesting for me, especially if I never use that kit again. So, we'll see how it goes. Do I have any tips for keeping clean and hygienic at LARP? Yes. So, shower, obvious one, shower before you go. Because that's always great. If there are showers there, try and shower at least once every other day. If you can't, fair enough. When I was at Guides, I was always taught to take wipes and make sure you wipe areas that get smelly and unhygienic, just to keep things clean, and bin those. Hand sanitizer is a really good one for staying clean and hygienic, because it can be used for a lot of different things. Obviously, with COVID and everything, you can use it to keep bacteria off your hands. You can use it to sanitize surfaces if you need to. It's also really good as a deodorant. So if you're starting to find that you smell and you can't get to a shower or ever to wash yourself, hand sanitizer will tide you over for a bit. I'll be honest with you, when it comes to keeping clean and hygienic at LARPs, you can mostly keep on top of your own routine as long as the facilities are there. I've yet to been at a LARP that doesn't have running water, which means you can at the very least wash your face, brush your teeth, and quite a few now have showers on site. If you're at a campsite, you should be fine. Even in big fields, they hire shower blocks to take with them in like a big sort of trailer kind of thing. There's not really any reason to not keep up with your usual routine of keeping clean. The only thing I would advise is be aware that the longer the LARP goes on, the more stuff you're going to need. But if you're only going for like a weekend, you can get like little travel bottles of shampoo and stuff. You don't have to take your big, giant Tresemme bottle like I take everywhere. The resources are usually there. It's pretty much all right. But if other than sort of regular washing routine, hand sanitizer, take it everywhere with you. It's magical stuff. And it will help keep those things clean and sterile if you need to. Uh, Fighting LARPs or more role play intrigue focused LARPs? For me personally, fighty LARPs. Um, but that's because I have a lot of anger I have to get out in my life, and being able to hit things really helps. I do like role play, even though I'm terrible at it. And I do like intrigue and sort of things like that. I know that's what I'm going to get a lot of at the Wild Hunt, so I'll get to go more into that kind of thing. But for me, fighty LARPs, because I just like to hit stuff. Really just like to hit stuff. It's great. Friend of mine, Louisa, she came to her first LARP last year, and the fact that she got to hit people and it was fine, became a little bit addicted to it. And I think she's coming back next year, so that'll be good. So yeah, for me, violence all the way. When did I realize LARP was for me? Oh, I probably realized LARP was for me probably when I was about 12 years old and I was still playing pretend like I was 8. That's when I realized that I probably needed to have a more long-term hobby, and that's when I sort of tried acting and things like that. But when was LARP specifically for me? I think it was probably when I was about 20, so probably about a year before I actually started. My husband, who had been LARPing before, told me about it, and I just asked him to tell me these stories over and over and over again, because it just sounded so fun and so interesting, and it was everything I'd ever wanted. Like I said, I've tried acting. I even did like Viking reenactment for a very short amount of time because I just couldn't get into it. And it was during the Viking reenactment, really what I wanted was to just make up a character and play. I wanted to just play pretend. I didn't want to, reenact like the Battle of Hastings, which isn't even Vikings, but you know what I mean. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to make up a character and play like I was in D&E, but I wanted to hit people with stuff. So yeah, that's when I realized LARP was for me. And when I went to LARP, finally, it just confirmed that. It confirmed that was exactly what I had been looking for. And yeah, I've never looked back. Never. And I don't know when I ever will, to be honest. I think I'll always love LARP, even when I'm, a grandmother. I'm still going to be talking about fantasy stories. It's going to be amazing. Favorite piece of kit that is not flashy or expensive? Oh, I think I know what you mean. My favorite piece of kit. I'm trying to think now. That's not flashy or expensive, because the thing is, LARP is so expensive. Oh, what do I own? Do you mean like in character kit or out of character kit? Because I probably could give you different answers. But it kind of also depends on what you call expensive. Because if I was to say out of character kit, I would probably say my camp bed, which sounds really dumb, but sleeping on the floor when you're camping is really a good way to get cold quick, because the floor is by far the coldest thing you'll ever sleep on, because it whips all that heat straight out of you. So having a camp bed where I could keep elevated off the floor, put all my stuff underneath for storage, and it wasn't too expensive in the long-term thing, really. I mean, mine's probably a little bit pricey because it's a double one, because I share it with my husband. But even like a single one, like you can get for 30-ish quid, which is still not brilliantly, not the cheapest thing, but you'll use it over and over again. So that's probably my out of character. I'm trying to think of my favorite key piece of kit in character. Oh. No, I think I know the answer to this. Is really good. I bought an IC journal a few years ago, and it was really cute. It was bright red. It's got a big heart on it, and it had loads of tiny roses in the heart, which have all fallen out over the space of a few years. And I think it cost me about 10 quid, maybe 15, because it's made out of leather and it's decent size. But the reason why it's probably my favorite piece of kit is because I just record everything that goes on at events in there. And it's really nice to sort of look back and have that record of, oh yeah, that event, I played in the fair games and I won a tarot card, and here's the tarot card because I've stuck it in there, and this is all the stuff that happened during that event. Just having that physical reminder is really, really cool. So I would say that's probably the best piece of kit I've got that's not flashy or expensive. It's just a nice little thing that looks really in character, but also has that memory tied to it. So that's really, really good. Let's see. Do I think someone can make a living off performing as a medieval fantasy bard if they were any good? I don't know. I mean, anyone can technically make a living off anything these days. I know that there's a YouTube channel out there who I go to sometimes when I'm looking for good fantasy music. And all they do is medieval bardic covers of popular songs. Like I Need a Hero, and stuff like that. And that's quite a good channel. I'm pretty sure they make money off it, but I don't know how much. If you're talking about sort of going to events and playing, maybe. I mean, you'd have to go to quite a lot. You need to have a lot of gigs, and it would depend on how much they sort of pay you, because I don't think you could ever fill Wembley with that. But I don't think it's something where you could make no money at all. I really don't know. I'm not an expert on this thing. That's not my field of work. I'm a UK civil servant. I work in it. I work for the UK government. I know nothing about making money from music, I'm afraid. But I'll be honest. But I would cheer anyone on that does, and I would certainly support them. So if that's your dream, I'm more than on board for that. Hey, Larpbeard. I keep bumping into Larpbeard kind of on Twitter, so I'm quite happy to see you. Hi. Evermore. I do have plans to go to Evermore. Not fixed plans. But I follow them on Instagram and I keep looking at it, and I really want to go to their Aurora events because, winter aesthetic, all that jazz. Yep, I know it's in Utah. It's open. It's kind of only open in the evenings and stuff like that, but I do plan to go. It's just working out how to do. I think I'm going to end up doing like a weird sort of mini tour of America at some point, because my friend Dom is over in California. And while it's not in America, I kind of do want to go up to sort of see Canadian bits and things like that. And there's some LARPs sort of in the US I want to try to do at least once. I understand that these things are probably not all going to be happening at the same time. I really want to go to Galactic Star Cruiser in Disney World as well and do that, because Star Wars LARP's my thing. I think I'm the only person on Earth who wants to do that. Everyone else about keeps sort of bitching about it online, and I'm just like, yeah, I want to go. I will scrape the money together because I'm that person. But yeah, I do want to go to Evermore. I think it's an absolutely brilliant thing. It looks beautiful. If I won the lottery, if I won Euro Millions and won £100 million, I would absolutely buy land and set up something like Evermore in the UK. That would be my dream. I would write plot for it. I would hire everybody. I'd make sure that I would have everything that Evermore offers. I would bring that to UK because I think it's a beautiful, beautiful idea and a concept. If money was not a concern, is there an item or costume piece you'd love to own? Oh, money wasn't a concern. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not good at this. I'm not good at this because I'm very bad at looking at stuff and going, oh, I wish I could afford that, because I just don't. I just keep looking for stuff that I want and then try and finding things that I can afford. Oh, I don't know. No, it's not quite a costume piece or an item. If money wasn't a concern, I would kill for like a yurt, like a full-on like yurt, and I would pay someone to set it up for me, with a proper bed and icy decor, and like with a big social sort of area where I could have like my friends, and so I would just have a massive yurt, because I believe comfort is the best thing you can have at LARP, and icy areas are great. I would also probably, if money sounds really dumb, if money wasn't a concern, I would do everything I could to have a traveling inn, so that I could cook LARP food for my friends, because that's another thing I'm desperate to do, which is to utilize all of my fantasy cookbooks and just make dinner for everybody. So yeah, if money was no object, I would have a big comfy place to sleep and a ton of great food. And that's how I would improve it. Have I heard of No, I have not. No, I have not. What's it like? Is it good? Is it like Be Clean? Is it really? I don't know. I'll look it up. Hinafol. I'll be honest with you. That name kind of sounds like a medicine. But I'm going to trust it and say that it's not a medicine. Hinafol. Is it Hinafol? I'll Google it. Because that'll be cool. And if that looks good, I'll add that to the list of the tour and add Texas onto the thing. Yes, do remember to hydrate. I've got my my Viserion Game of Thrones mug. Hello, Lisa. You and your brother are going LARPing. Yes, more people LARPing. We always need more people LARPing. Because LARP is not a dying hobby. It's one of those hobbies which is a bit rough, because you've got all the people who kind of started it back about 20 years ago, and then you've got my lot who came in 10 years ago, and now we've got all this sort of young newbie people, and we're desperate to keep them coming and keep them playing with us, because it's a bit of a strange hobby, LARP, because you kind of see it as both this young person hobby where it's all teenagers, but then there's also the 40-year-olds sort of who've been doing it for ages, because they're the ones who came up with it. Yeah, I'm more than happy. I just want to see more people of all ages. I want more people to come and do this cool thing, because LARP, in my opinion, is the hobby of the future. Which again comes back to Disney and Galactic Star Cruiser, because I think Disney see it the same way, which is very exciting. Conquest of Mythodia. Oh, Conquest of Mythodia. Oh, I want to go to it so badly. There's several people. There's so much. I follow several people on Instagram who are like the monster crew for Conquest of Mythodia, and I just see them with their makeup, and it's so realistic and so beautiful, and they've got like blood splatter on their faces, and it just looks incredible, and I'm very desperate to go. And I think it's also the one, and if I'm wrong, this is an entirely different LARP in Germany, then I'm very sorry, but I'm very confident it is the right one. There's a video of all these women doing this blood rite, and I've watched it so many times because it is incredible. It's like the most. I want one of those LARP moments one day where I end up dancing around a fire and then pour fake blood over me. I'm so on board for this. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that's Conquest of Mythodia, and it looks amazing. And I keep seeing it from Sonia's Adventures, which is another LARP channel that I absolutely adore. Because she and the people who work with her to help produce her channel are so smart and so talented, and I really want to go for it. And it could be Drakenfest. I'm not sure. I could have them all mixed up in my head. All I know is that it looks incredible, and I'm desperate to go. I want to go to Drakenfest as well on that one. If you've not seen Sonia's Adventures, go to that channel because she and her team are incredible, and I would definitely recommend them. I watch it all the time. I'm just making sure I'm not missing any questions. No, okay. If money wasn't an issue, what would be your dream LARP to run? Other than a Star Wars LARP, because that's obviously incredible, and I'm so glad that Disney are trying to do it. If I could run one of my own that wasn't Star Wars, I would probably run my own fantasy sort of LARP. But in the same way, sort of Evermore's done it, I would have my own LARP site with buildings and staff and all this sort of custom plot that me and my husband write, because my husband's a brilliant storyteller. He writes some plot for the Loring Trust, and he's very good at it, in my opinion. And I may be really biased in that, but I think he's absolutely fantastic. And I would write a fantasy plot that essentially, which would involve war, because I like when players come into conflict. I think that's always far more interesting than when players are in conflict with a invisible, NPC force. I like it when players role play off each other as opposed to role play, against something that doesn't technically exist. So that would be. I would write a plot of that, and I would also write it so that I could have a gun, because I'm really into fantasies with guns at the moment, and that might be literally just because Legend of Vox Machina is coming out and I'm getting really into Percy, and I know I'm well behind on the time for that because that campaign is dead and gone and has been for a while. But like I said, I have not been able to watch Critical Role for a variety of reasons. So I want desperately at some point to play a wizard with a gun, and I would write a fantasy system that had wizards with guns. But that's just me. Yes, they do have a LARP running the Immersion Entertainment over at Disney now. And I believe Immersion Entertainment is pretty much the next step theme parks are going to be taking to, move forward, because they've got to do something that sets them apart from the rest, and immersion is pretty much the way to go. And theme parks in general always have been relatively immersive anyway. You go to Disneyland, you've got the castle, and you've got all these shops that are strongly based around sort of things, and then you've got Cars Land and you can actually go to Pizza Planet for Disney World, and and now they're sort of having to move past that and see what's next, and the next thing is definitely immersion, and which is ironic because I think a lot of people who go to theme parks are not ready for it yet, because they keep moaning about it on YouTube. And I'm up for immersive experiences. I think it's the way forward for entertainment in general. Either my chat's died or we've all come to the end of the thing. Oh yes, magic guns would be amazing. I've been playing a game. It sounds really dumb. I've been playing a game on my phone called what's it called? Hang on. What's the stupid game I've been playing? It's just a weird little app. Got my phone. Life in Adventure. So it's Life in Adventure. It's on the Google Play Store. Been playing that quite consistently for the past 2 weeks, which has been quite good. And there's a magic gun in there, and I love it. It's like my favorite weapon. So Yeah, magic with guns is the way forward. If I ever play tabletop game again, I'm gonna try and have a gun. Hi, Laura. I'm just moving my camera slightly because I think I just knocked my screen a bit. No problem. We've been talking about a lot of different stuff things. Can't too much questions are interesting things to say. That's fair enough, Mercer. I don't blame you. I should have brought beer. I'm running out of water quite desperately. So the whole point of this stream was to talk about people getting into LARP. But it's kind of sort of hard to sort of say why people want to get into LARP. Because it's kind of just one of those things you kind of discover and go, oh, that'll be fun. And then you watch a load of stuff on YouTube and then a pandemic happens. So it kind of gets hard to get into. So yeah, there's been a lot of online LARPs during the pandemic, but I didn't get a chance to do any of those, mainly because I didn't want to be LARPing 3-4 nights a week with a toddler, because that's emotionally draining. Oh, so what can we talk about getting into LARP? Because I think we're starting to come towards the end of it now. Users pop-up, sorry, appeared on my screen and hid all the conversation questions. I hope to see you too at Northern Kingdoms, because that would be really, really cool to sort of go into that. I don't know what I'd play at Northern Kingdoms. I'm trying to decide between an elf or a sorceress, or maybe just even a dwarf. I don't know. There's options. Kind of losing track of the thought now. Yeah, I would say LARP's definitely the next step of D&D. I know a lot of people kind of like tabletoppers kind of look down on LARPers because, you know, we're the next level nerds, but to be honest, they can't take us in a fight, so they just have to live with that, aren't they? They're just jealous that, you know, we're going to beat them up with our foam swords. Would I try a buffer LARP? What is really kind of the difference between a buffer LARP and any other kind of fighting LARP, other than, you know, they kind of look like they're hitting you with a foam baseball bat? Because I don't really see the difference, because, you know, it's all just hitting each other with foam stuff, isn't it? Like, is buffer LARP really, like, is it worse? I don't know. I've never been to one, so I couldn't really say. I'm not afraid to be hit by stuff. I'm certainly not afraid of hitting other people. So I'm not sure what the difference is, to be honest. Because, well, if they're super padded, and they're super hard, surely the hitting people super hard does it not matter as much? I don't know. I'm willing to try anything at least once, to be honest. So that's fair. I'll try bottle LARP. Someone take it. I don't know of any bottle LARPs here in the UK, to be honest. It seems very an American thing. So I don't know. I'll try anything. How can you free yourself from an uncomfortable situation? Okay, so freeing yourself from uncomfortable situations. So first thing to always remember is it doesn't matter whether it's IC or OC. If you are genuinely uncomfortable, you have absolutely every right to turn around and go, stop, I'm getting out. No. How you do that, if there might be, games might set rules on how to do that. I know some games have like fingers in the air, hands over your head. They have code words. These are usually identified in whatever rules they have. If there aren't any, I am always of the opinion that you should just be able to go, stop, I'm uncomfortable. And there's no one should stop you from removing yourself from that situation. If you're uncomfortable with a situation in character, That's a bit different, really, isn't it? Because being comfortable. The thing is, if you're uncomfortable in character, but you're not uncomfortable out of character, then surely you're technically okay to be fine. You're still in that situation. But if you are uncomfortable out of character, you are not under any obligation to stay in that situation just because of other people's LARP. I know of a friend of mine who got very uncomfortable in a situation where she essentially got surrounded by a group of gentlemen who were all quite bigger than her and quite terrifying, and she felt very intimidated and felt like she couldn't remove herself from that situation. And that shouldn't be happening at all. In my opinion, if you are in a situation that you should, you do whatever you do what you need to get out of that. You scream, you shout, you say stop, 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 especially if people are not stopping. You have every right to remove yourself from situations where you're uncomfortable. I'm not sure if I've answered that very well, to be honest. I have a whole video about going to LARPs alone and how to LARP safely. I really do recommend them because I scripted those out quite well and thought all of my points through. So yeah, have a look at those if you haven't already, because I think I've got some tips in there as well to how to free yourself from uncomfortable accommodation situations, and I'm not sure if I'm answering it very well. So sorry, Lara. I hope I'm doing okay. I feel like I've missed a question. I don't think I have. I don't think LARPs are necessarily more smacky and bashy. I just like to hit people. I don't want to bruise anyone. I've seen people with nasty LARP bruises. I once saw somebody. I actually saw somebody once covered in so many bruises at a LARP they kind of looked like a giraffe. That should be happening. Don't worry, Lisa. This is entirely recorded, so this will be up on YouTube permanently as soon as the stream's ended. So you'll be able to catch up then. That's not a problem. Don't worry. Have a nice evening. Thank you for coming. It was really nice chatting with you. So yeah, like I was sort of saying, I've seen people with nasty LARP bruises, so I don't know. I like hitting people. I don't want to damage anyone. Would I try Fools and Heroes? I don't know much about Fools and Heroes. I've heard good things about it. I've got several friends who have been to it before, but I don't know much about the setting, much about anything else. So yeah, but like I said, I'm willing to try pretty much any LARP. So as long as I'm not horror, because I'm terrified. But yeah, so pretty much any LARP that you stick on here is like, would you try this one? Would you try that? No, I would pretty much try anything once. Yeah, good night, Sweden. Have I heard of Old Town? No. I mean, I've heard of Old Town at Beakerleen, which is a location, and Old Town is location in many fantasy stories. So I've not heard specifically of a LARP called Old Town. Sounds cool though. What's it about? You're gonna have to tell me. I want to go to so many LARPs. I do, and I don't know. There are so many, like literally all around the world. Like you could list pretty much almost any LARP, and I won't probably have heard of it. Post-apocalyptic LARP? No, definitely not heard of it. But I'm willing to try. Always willing to try and think. How many of you here are actually from Sweden? Because I feel like it's more than just one or two. I feel like it's quite a significant group of you all from Sweden, which is fascinating because I want to go to your country so badly. They have the best trailers. I'm presuming you mean like YouTube trailers? Or do you mean like trailers as in caravans? Because I don't know what you mean. If there's videos of them on YouTube, I will go and have a look. That'll be good. I'd like to go to Vampire 2. I don't know if it is. I don't know if it's best in group or not. If you haven't, go to Hefty Yeti's Twitch channel / Discord chat, because he goes to Empire. Lot of other people he knows sort of goes to Empire. Who's the other one? Sherlock Holmes on YouTube. He also does Empire, so that's really, really good. So many people in Sweden. I need to go to Sweden. Yeah. Yes, Debbie, I do know you're from the UK. I still need to meet you properly in person. I'll have a look then at Old Town and see what it's like. I can get out to Poland because one of my very good friends is Polish, and she and her husband get out there a lot. So I might see if I can jump on that train with them next time they go. Not literally a train, you know what I mean. But yeah, I could probably get out to Poland and do stuff. So many people from the UK as well. Yay, I need to meet all of you. I need to meet people, which means I need to go LARPing. Just how it is. Oh, I think we're sort of coming towards the end of it now because we're running out of questions. So anyone else got any questions sort of about getting started LARPing? What's LT like? It does seem quite rules heavy. Yeah. It's not as bad as you think it is. It comes off as quite rules heavy, especially since they've just had a new rules change. So a lot of the stuff got rewritten, and they want people to read as much of the rule book as they possibly can. It's not as rules heavy in practice, because essentially once you're actually in the game, what you primarily need to know is stuff that affects your game. So things to do with your character and the skills you have, and things that could happen to you regularly. So, for instance, I'm the guild master of the Rangers Guild, so I can tell you all about our plot. I can tell you all about archery. I can tell you all about the different skills that I have and how that affects my hit points, how that affects, spells that people cast on me. I don't know much about magic because I have very limited spell casting abilities. So I could tell you that, if I get hit with a sleep spell that I'm going to go to sleep for 10 seconds, I can't tell you anything about how much power that's going to cost people because I don't have power or magic, so that doesn't matter to me as much. And it's the same sort of things with like poisons. I don't deal with poisons very much. So I don't need to necessarily know how every poison in this game is going to affect me, mainly because if I get poisoned, there's going to be a ref suddenly appearing in a bright yellow viz, and he's going to tell me how I'm going to die. So you don't need to memorize the entire book. You just kind of need to know how to play your character well, and mostly what to do if something happens to you in game, either from being hit by a stick or someone pointing at you going magic-y whizzy-waz stuff. And you can mostly get away with the rest. I would still recommend people read through the entire book because you should anyway, and there's important things in there about what to do if, like, say, your character dies, and it's nice to just be aware of that. But it looks worse than it is, and it's still not that bad. Once you're actually there, I think it's probably one of the best games you can have if you've never LARPed before, because there is so much creative freedom for what you want to do. There's very little scrutiny on character costume, and some do, some don't. But our interest is quite calm about that. There's not really a culture of people telling you off for not looking right or anything, and there isn't at most LARPs. But I like that especially, and it's really good for like going, this is my first LARP, I'm not sure how to get started. I'll go and try the low interest. Because at the end of the day as well, if you go to a rules heavy LARP first, suddenly LARPs that aren't as rules heavy become a bit easier because you don't have to remember much, and it gives you more confidence at those smaller LARPs. I think low interest is fantastic. I know so many people who write the plots for it. They are all incredibly talented and incredibly dedicated. They get together often to write stuff. We all submit stuff on a regular basis, and it all gets assessed by a team who make sure it's up to standard. And it's got an incredibly talented ref team as well, who are all very smart, far smarter than I am. And all of the players, with obviously exceptions because no system is perfect, but every player I've met is so keen on everyone having a fun time. And they want to add to it as much as possible. So people do go out, put on music performances. They are really, into a sort of, there's so much I can say. The rules make it look like it's really quite, intellectual and intensive, and it's really not. It's quite a simple process, and you can learn as you go. And the most important thing as well, which I think to give credit for, is if you make a mistake, you don't get hung, drawn, and quartered for it. It's understandable, and the people are so nice about it. And I think it's one of the best places to be in life when you're getting started in LARP. I think that everyone's great. The staff are amazing. They are all so dedicated and so talented, and I know I'm probably biased because I'm one of the volunteers, so I'm also writing plot and doing all the sort of backstage stuff. But it means I can see what other people are doing. So I will sell LT until I'm blue in the face, especially while I work backstage, because I see all the hard work that people do, and it really pays off. And beautiful set builds, beautiful camps. The players build these beautiful camps. If you ever want to see a great camp, look up pictures of the Bears faction, especially on Instagram, because the Bears faction are all based in Caledonia. They've got a very sort of Scottish Braveheart thing, but they all look amazing. Their camp is gorgeous, and they're all in these beautiful sort of tartans. They are aesthetically stunning. I could go on about the Bears for days. They look beautiful. I think a lot of people sort of think that LT isn't as good as other things in the UK. LT stands for the Lorien Trust, which is the name of the company that does it. Sorry, I abbreviate a lot, so tell me off. A lot of people think that the Lorien Trust isn't as aesthetically pretty as everywhere else and other LARPs. I vehemently disagree. They are absolutely fantastic, and I think they are absolutely beautiful. So look up the Lorien Trust Bears faction. I'm trying to remember who does the photos now because it's absolutely great. I'll probably pop it in a YouTube video at some point, who some of the photographers are, but go on Instagram, look up Bears faction, Lorien Trust Bears faction, they'll show up. I definitely just look them up, they look great. So I was thinking about Lorien Trust for quite a while because it's gorgeous and I could be here all night. No, I haven't. I haven't heard of most LARPs. I basically need to write a long list of LARPs I need to go to, because there's so many great ones. One I'm trying to hopefully go to next year because I haven't got time to get organised for it this year. This Second Breakfast LARP, which is entirely about hobbits, because that looks amazing. I want to go to that really badly. I've got that. I've got Northern Kingdoms. I've got a Wild Hunt. Is it pronounced Dunomicon? I can't pronounce anything for the life of me. It's also 9:15 at night. I'll write it down and I will have a look. And because I need more LARPs to go to. especially since I've got a new job, which means I could probably afford to go to new LARPs. Yeah. Right. I think we're starting to come to the end of it. Is there any last questions now? Or am I going to be able to run away and go to bed? I will look up is it Dumnunny? Dumnunny Chronicles. I'll have a look and see what it's like, because I need to go LARPing. Any last questions? I'm going to give you 2 minutes, and I'm just going to talk about nonsense about LARP while we're at that. How am I holding up? I'm knackered. I'm knackered. I've just come back off holiday, which you think would be restful, but it wasn't. It was fun, but it wasn't restful. And I'm also quite keen to get into the new LARP year. I'm having a meeting with my Rangers team in a couple of days to talk about all the stuff we need to get done for this year. I have the Alchemist team from the guilds, from the Law Interest guilds, coming to my house as well, because my husband's on their team, so they'll be having a meeting as well. I have a plot meeting in February. I have deadlines for research requests coming up, so that's going to be quite busy as well. This is all the backstage stuff at LARPs that you don't see. So yeah, we're going to probably stop here then. I'm glad you've all enjoyed the stream. We're definitely going to do this again. I'm just going to look at what the date is for the next one, because I want to do this every month on the 3rd Saturday of each month, which means the next one's going to be on the 19th of February. So right after Valentine's Day, like a weird Valentine's Day special. Maybe we can talk about relationships at LARP and talk about how, make friends and other such interesting people. Yes, Debbie, let's go thrifting for LARP. We will go thrift. It'll be great. We can talk about it. I may make a video. You don't have to be in it. Don't worry. But yes, let's go and thrift for LARP on LARP stuff. Message me on Twitter, and we will arrange a time. Yes, I want to go out and meet people. I'm very strange. I just use YouTube to make friends. That's all I want to do here. Right. Thank you all so much for coming. I feel like the stream has been constantly in double digits this entire time, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're a small channel like me, that means so much. So thank you all so much for coming. We'll be here again on the 19th of February? That would be absolutely brilliant. We're going to do this every month, and we can talk about different art topics, and hopefully, get you all super keen for the year, and that's going to be great. So we'll talk about making LARP friends next time, and I will talk to you about some of the most amazing people I have in my life, because that's what my LARP friends are. So there we go. It's a date. Can't wait to speak to you all. So have a good evening or morning, depending on where you are in the world. And I will talk to you in a month. All right. Good night. Stay safe. Stay healthy. And see you on that battlefield, all that thing I say. Bye.